We've got Dhananjay Chauhan, another activist who's joining us on the phone lines. Dhananjay, we've been speaking to a large number of LGBT activists who've all been talking about their fight for this very day to ensure that the Supreme Court takes some sort of an action. And going by the observations of the Supreme Court, they have said that yes, this is a question of a fundamental right of an individual, and also that the concept of unnatural sex requires more clarity. Are you hopeful now, keeping in mind these kind of observations, that we are now moving with the times, that finally we can expect that the Apex Court will actually step in and ensure the scrapping of this regressive section of the IPC?
Yes, I am very optimistic because it is first time the Supreme Court, reopened and I'm very happy, and we are very optimistic. So I'm fighting for since long time from Chandigarh, and we are organizing every year Pride Walk in Chandigarh. This February we have also we want to society that they should accept it, and it is natural. This is not unnatural. It is obviously natural, and this is very very optimistic. That we are very happy that Supreme Court is 5 judges bench. I'm very optimistic.
And, Dhananjay, even as we speak about this particular story, the Supreme Court has stepped in now. They have ensured that this particular issue is sent across to a larger bench. Do you feel that, in this kind of time and age, as we move towards, as we claim to be, a modern India, that there is no place in society for something as archaic as a Section 377, which pretty much clamps down on a person's right to privacy?
On right to privacy, talaq is concerned, I think we still have a hope, we still have a trust on the Indian judiciary that it will definitely open its real eyes to speak about what exactly Section 377 means. That's one side. The second thing is about the Indian Parliament, which has unanimously rejected this human sexuality cannot be heard by the current NDA government. I think that is very much disappointing. I think it's also time in the Bhajapa that few pro-thinkers who are supporting the rights of human sexuality need to come together and to show their consensus support for these minorities who are oppressed and oppressed. I think in that way the Parliament and the Indian judiciary should come forward to speak about human sexuality matters for the country in the 21st century, and it is also now the state's responsibility. Please open your minds. I think before that, judge not support gender identity, judge not support sexual diversity is our slogan. I think you need to bring up in that perspective of supporting the human sexuality rather than judging one's identity. I think if like that, so I think we are living in the 21st century, and that progressive movement has to keep going around. And now all the political leaders and parties should break their silence and support for the rights of sexuality.
Do you think some Supreme Court bench has do you have that hope that will give some kind of
Certainly. I think since 2001 and 2, we are always, in the doors of judiciary of the country, and judiciary has never, was against us except 2013. I think now we are having so much of, triple or the 4 times of hopes that still the community has. Now I think the judiciary is the main, the key role will play in the entire constitution context, and the Indian constitution talks about socialism and secularism, and I'm very proud to be part of this country rather than to be practicing the communal violence or fundamentalism in this country.
Do you think the hope of getting that respect will remain?
Definitely. I think one side Supreme Court judgment, second thing is about the parliamentary taking its stand. Third thing is also about talking about the social stigma is concerned. How do you combat social stigma? How do you build awareness about Section 377? I'm so happy the Karnataka state government, the transgender policy which talks about to build a consensus about Section 377, there's a big move. I think that's what the society needs to come forward to understand.
So That was Akai, a renowned, of course, LGBT activist. She's been fighting for the rights, for basic fundamental rights for LGBT community for the last many, many years. Our legal correspondent Nalini also with us on this broadcast. And Nalini, you know, we've been getting in so many voices from the LGBT community, so many activists speaking to us, expressing hope that this time around we will see this particular section of the IPC being struck down. And largely that's because of the kind of observations that have been made by the Supreme Court. If you could really sum up what happened in the Apex Court today, what are the kind of observations that were made? Because the Supreme Court stressed on the right to privacy, on the right to life and liberty.
Yes, well, things have been put into perspective by the Supreme Court today, where we've seen a three-judge bench headed by the Chief Justice of India refer the aspect of homosexuality as well as criminalization of Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code to a larger bench. It is now going to be a constitutional bench of the Apex Court of India that is going to be re-looking into this decision where Section 377 was criminalized, and in fact the case is going to be reviewed from a fresh perspective by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has clearly come out and stated that after the 9-judge ruling of the right to privacy judgment, things have come into perspective, and of course criminalization of Section 377 hurts the individual choice as well as the privacy of these individuals who prefer to choose their sexual partners. So this particular petition, which has been referred to a constitutional bench by the Chief Justice of India today, specifically is in regard to the choice of these adults to choose their sexual partners. Very important to note over here is that the other aspect
Nalini, I request you to stay on with us, and we're going to come to you to also get a sense of what else observations were made. Filmmaker Onir joining us on this broadcast. Onir, your view on this particular issue, because now you have the Supreme Court speaking, observing that it's time to get rid of these kind of archaic laws, to get rid of Section 377. Are you hopeful that this time around we will see some sort of constructive action by the Apex Court?
Absolutely. I think having the hearing coming up is something of very, very significant importance to the entire LGBT community and anyone who belongs in human rights and democracy. And we are really hoping that this time the Supreme Court does not let down the entire community, and hoping that this time it's favorable.
And you know, Onir, in the past, when we've seen this entire debate over Section 377, over striking it down and upholding it, it's always been a question of unnatural versus natural sex and the likes. Do you feel that finally it's been recognized as a debate of a fundamental right of an individual, that it's been recognized as upholding the right of privacy, the right of life of an individual?
Absolutely. I think it's not only the fundamental rights of an individual, of freedom, of democracy, and also, I mean, it's high time we came beyond the debate of natural, unnatural, which is anyway such a debatable and extremely illogical, unscientific point of view.
All right, Onir, thank you so much for speaking to Republic TV. So you've got a number of LGBT voices, all of them welcoming this particular move, and we're going to track this story very closely. I'd also like to thank our legal correspondent Nalini for getting us the latest details on really what the Supreme Court had to say about Section 377. The time has come to strike down this archaic law.